Hello and welcome to another episode of Logan Sounds Off. Today I am doing an episode on an album that I've been meaning to do a review on for a long time. That's Out of This World. It's a very good album. People may know Beastie Boys for Fight for Your Right off their first album, License to Ill. And then you've also got Ill Communication and stuff, which at one point I thought was 3 Communication a couple of years ago, before I really started getting into Beastie Boys. But Beastie Boys were seen as a hip-hop band and a rap band, which is completely untrue. I believe they were kind of alternative hip-hop rock, nearly. So I'm going to start from the start and then work our way up to Check Your Head, which is a brilliant album, and it was released. It was one of their first couple of albums. It's definitely one of their best. It was released 1992 by Capitol Records, and I have it on tape, and I've played this tape so much. This particular tape was made in Holland or the Netherlands. But anyways, Capitol did this album and it was released in 1992. So we know that, and it's Check Your Head by Beastie Boys. So I want to start with Beastie Boys. So if you're into Beastie Boys, you'll know that there's a Beastie Boys book now out, which also has a Beastie Boys album, which is, I think the book's called The Beastie Boys Story. I haven't read it myself, but I think it's out now. I believe I think it was released 2020, I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know on social media if you've read it or if you know anything about it, and if it's appropriate, because I would love to read it and learn more about the Beastie Boys. But I do know the Beastie Boys weren't originally a hip-hop band. They were actually punk. And there's actually a punk song on this, which I'll come to when I'm doing talking about this album. But they were originally a punk band, and you can definitely hear the infused kind of punk throughout this album, which I think it's very interesting to hear punk in a hip hop album. Now, for those who are into hip hop, Beastie Boys will be a big part of a lot of people's lives. I know they're a big part of mine, and they feature in a lot of different TV shows. But when people think about hip hop, they think about Lil Nas X, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, that kind of thing. Which, me myself, I'm not a big hip hop fan. That's why I like Beastie Boys, because I wouldn't classify Beastie Boys as hip hop. There isn't really a genre that Beastie Boys falls into perfectly, without tripping up. That it kind of flops in. There's no real genres that it kind of just falls in and stands there. But this I like the album cover on this album, and I think that it's a very hip hop album cover. Now the tape cover is a lot different too. Well, not that much different, but quite different in ways to the original one. But basically, it's the same picture, except it doesn't have the title on it. It's just more in the tape size. But no, it's a really, really nice sleeve that I've actually got on this tape. So I'll put pictures in the description about this if you're listening on YouTube, or watching on YouTube, I should say. But no, this is a really, really nice album, and I like it simply because there's not that much bad language in it, and I like that because I feel like a lot of hip hop nowadays has a lot of bad language, and I really, really don't like that. Now, this is actually a very long album. It has 20 songs on it, and there's a lot of work put into this. Sorry, I said there was Capitol Records that did this, but also there was Grand Royal and Brooklyn Dust Music. And I think there's a genre called dust music, and I would kind of push Beastie Boys under it. Kind of dust music is, in my head, I would put dust music as kind of dirty, dusty. It sounds kind of dusty, like Fu Manchu and stuff. But I always would have thought about it as dust music. But anyways, I'm going to start with I'm not going to go through the whole album, because there's a lot of 30-second songs, and kind of clips from TV shows. Now that doesn't make it a like bad album. That's just samples, but it isn't. They're not all full songs, which I don't mind. They all run into each other perfectly though. So I'm gonna start with Jimmy James. At the start of it, you hear a voice saying, "This next one is our new song on our new album," and I actually think that's very very cool. Who said that actually was Ad Rock, I think. Ad Rock said that at the start, and it was quite interesting because I always had this kind of paradox in my head going, well, if this is the new song, then how is it played live? Because the album wasn't released yet. Because there was no single for that song. So I had a bit of a paradox there for a bit, which was very funny. So the next song then is Funky Boss, which I kind of like the drums on this one. So Mike D was on the drums, and then MCA was on the bass on this, and MCA is on a song, well, he's on all the songs, but he's especially good on a song called Gratitude, and I really like Gratitude, and also So What You Want. That's a very intense song, but probably one of the best on this album. So you got Funky Boss then, which has some kind of rapping, mild, kind of some language in that, but it's very good. Then you got Pass the Mic, which follows on greatly from that, and then you've got Gratitude, which is very kind of really dirt, dust kind of music. Very heavy and gritty. The guitar and the bass in this was very gritty. And Ad Rock was giving it loads during this song. So I really like that actually. And then you've also got Lighten Up, which is kind of more just kind of one of those 30-second songs to bring you on to Finger Lickin' Good. Which is a bit of a weird song that consists of a lot of samples that are weird. It's a good song, but like it's not as good as some other songs on the album. But it's good. It's good. Like this album, every single song on this is good. But there is a top tier on this album. But then you got So What You Want, which is, if you ever see the video of that, it's proper kind of, gritty, fisheye official video kind of thing. Which it's really, really cool actually. It's really, really cool. It's odd though. It's very, very odd, the song. But I like it a lot. It's very nice. It's a very nicely made song. And I think that's how an album should be made. Nicely, that somebody can go, it's heavy, but I still find it nice to listen to. Now, this isn't something that you listen to before bed. I don't mean nice in that way. I mean that it's nicely done. It's more hardcore kind of music. But then you've got, after that, the Biz versus the Nudge. That's just a guy going, the Beastie Boys, for about 30 seconds. But he says some other lyrics that are kind of, they're audible, you can hear them, but they're just like, you can't really understand it. It's quite funny. And then you go on to Time for Living, and that is a punk song. Really, really hardcore kind of punk that is. And then as well, that follows on from that is Something's Got to Give, which is kind of like nearly the same song. But Time for Living is a very kind of fast song. It's a very fast-paced song. Like it's not. How do I say it? It's not really heavy punk, as in like Egg Raid on Mojo by the Beastie Boys. If you want to stay on Earth, don't listen to Jerry Seinfeld introducing Egg Raid on Mojo. Well, it sounds like Jerry Seinfeld at the start, actually. It sounds very, very similar. So I kind of had a bit of a laugh at that. But anyways, then you go on to side B. So yeah, there's a side B. You got The Blue Nun and Stand Together, which are kind of the same song. I like Stand Together. I like it. Again, not top tier, but still very, very good. I really like that. The song. It's got, the Beastie Boys have this kind of aura around them. that they don't mess, but they're not serious either. That they're very intense about their music, and they will take a stand on something that's not right, but they're still not fully hardcore musicians like Rage Against the Machine or somebody who would talk about politics all the time, and Prophets of Rage and stuff, which can comment a lot about the government and comment on racism that goes around in our world. But that's a whole different type of music that I usually don't like getting into. The music's good, but I just don't like getting into the meanings because it can be a big rabbit hole. But next is Pow. And this is, it's a cool name. I like the word Pow. And I like the next song, The Maestro. I like the name. There's 3 songs that have great names in this that are in a row. Pow, The Maestro, and Groove Homes, which all run into each other perfectly. And I really like those songs. But then you get on to the last kind of 3, 4, 5 songs that are just, they're weird. It gets pretty weird at the end. It does. I'm not going to lie. You got Live with PJ. And, Live at PJ's. And it's kind of like, nearly like a bar. It's like a pub or a bar or somewhere where they were playing. I don't know, was it recorded that it was actually they were playing in a bar? But it was a sample, but it's called Live at PJ's. And that's a very good, it's percussive, that song actually. And Beastie Boys are very percussive. A lot of people think of Beastie Boys as they have the 3 keyboards, they have a guitar that they mess about with, and a great drummer. No, Beastie Boys have an amazing guitarist and an amazing singer. They all sing, but Ad-Rock is a very good singer in a lot of the songs. So you've got then the guitarist, then you've got the drummer, and then you've got the keyboardist, or you've got MCA on the bass, MCA on the bass, and Mike D on the drums, and they put all these samples into their songs. And I think there's a keyboardist that works with some of the songs, but the D6 clav, the organ, the Wurtelizer, and plus he's a master carpenter in this whole album, is Mark Ramos Nishita, and he is not given enough credit. And then percussion, and the Arturo, the Oliva, and the Bata, and the Shakari. And there's so many more, so many more stuff on this that is just amazing, which was Mario Caldato Jr. So there's a lot of people who worked on this album, and there's a lot of good people who worked on this album. And this was produced by Beastie Boys and Mario. So that's quite interesting. But no, then you've got the other songs, which is Mark on the Bus, which is just about a guy on a bus. It's literally a minute and a half, just a guy singing on a bus, plain as hell. It's a very kind of dull song. And then you've got Professor Booty, which I'm not going to get into. It's not rude, like, or anything. It's they use the term booty as pirate treasure. I'm just going to say about that song. And then In Threes and Namaste finish off the album perfectly. So now you can see that I go and listen to this a lot. I listen to this a lot. As I've said, I have this on tape, so it's very easy. Just fling it in. And the sound on this, it's just lovely if you hear to put stuff in. It's lovely and old. So you can still hear all those creaks and those little clicks and clatters and stuff with the tape. But I really like it. It was originally my dad's. But anyways, the star rating. What everyone's been looking forward to. I'm going to give this album a strong 5 stars. I mean, I love Beastie Boys. I loved some of their stuff. Some of their stuff is a bit weird, but most of it's very, very good. Again, alternative hip-hop, I really, really like it. So yeah, I'm going to give this a strong 5 stars for the amazing percussion, incredible dusty guitars kind of sound, and all that. I really like it. So that's why I'm going to rate this a strong 5 stars. So if you'd like to hear more album reviews that I'd like to do, please like and subscribe, because if you're on YouTube, and please follow my podcast and add your podcast to your episode list on Spotify. Because I do these a lot of the time. I do every Sunday when I can, I do an album review, and I do book reviews as well, and interviews with some very interesting people. And you can find me on social media at Logan Sounds Off. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of Logan Sounds Off, and I hope you will tune in to listen to the next one. Goodbye, guys!